Hello, everyone, and welcome to Schmidt List. I'm your host, Kurt Schmidt. I'm excited that you are joining me today. I have got an extra special guest for us. And before I get started, I want to remind you that my new book, The Little Book of Networking, is out. And as I mentioned in a previous show, my newest book will be coming out very soon. So if you're not subscribed to the newsletter, to the channel, to the podcast, make sure you are, because then you'll get heads up on when that is available. So, all right, I want to introduce my new friend, Sally. Sally, how are you today?
I'm so great. I mean, I'm on Schmidt List, so that's gonna absolutely make your day better.
I mean,
So
well,
fun.
it is a lot of people's dreams, Sally, to be here, and you have achieved it. So, congratulations. Um,
Where do you go from here is the question.
Really, it's pretty lateral from here on. It's just kind of a plateau for the rest of your career. Sally, tell me about the work you do and who do you work with?
Yeah, so I am both a speaker and a speaker coach. I do both. I've always done both. I love both very, very much. And I help people leverage the power of speaking to grow their income, their authority, their leads, really to put them on the map as the go to person in their industry. And to, for a lot of people who don't want to necessarily be a professional speaker, but who find themselves up in front of any audience on stage, like this is a stage, I would say, Kurt, then I
Yep.
help them finesse their skills. So a lot of professionals, even if they don't consider themselves a speaker, but do a lot of
Mm.
speaking, I help them do that with more confidence and clarity and courage, which is so, so important for us to do it in a way that really connects with our audience.
That sounds like it sounds like a fun job. Uh,
It is.
I want to start really at the very beginning, which is what I'm sure you hear a lot, is that I'm interested in professional speaking, but I have a myriad of reasons why I'm doing it. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't know
Yeah. Yeah.
all these things, but I hear I should do it, and there's something in me, maybe in the back of my head, that's telling me like I should give it a try.
Yeah.
Um, what's sort of the first step into getting into public speaking, especially
Yeah.
if you're a business owner or you're in a business and you want to grow your
Yeah.
reputation?
Yeah. Well, you've hit on a few things, and I really appreciate you are representing so accurately the way so many people feel as they enter into this. Like, even acknowledging a little bit to yourself, I think I maybe want to do some speaking. I think maybe I can. That is a remarkably big deal for a lot of people to even admit it to yourself, because speaking in particular holds itself on a little bit of a pedestal. And I don't appreciate that. I don't think it's helpful for anybody to kind of see speaking as this elitist, oh my gosh, you've got to be a performer, or you have to have a
Right.
book, or you have to, I mean, there are so many things that we feel like you should do or should have before you even enter in to what is possible for you when you speak. So I just want to acknowledge that a lot of people have what I call the I want to buts. I want to, but can I? I
Yeah.
want to, but
Yeah. There's something in my history that has told me I am lacking to be able to do this. Right.
mm, yeah, you are not alone. Even people who have invested in working with me, who have admitted it so much to themselves that they're willing to put some money on the table and say, okay, I really want to do this. Even then, the becoming a speaker, it's an internal game way more than it is an external game. And it is all about battling the stories that we tell ourselves about who can do this, who belongs on
Mm.
stage, who has what it takes. And it's the thing I get most fired up about, because I love a speaker that does not look like all the other speakers or sound like
Right.
all the other speakers. Like, I'm bored with a lot of the professional speakers that are out there. I'm kind of like, yeah, 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 yeah. You know, and personally, I don't relate. And a lot of audience members don't relate to the way a lot of speakers approach speaking because they're doing it the way they think they're supposed to do it. So I
Right.
invite
Some sort of
in,
formula, right?
yeah. And this I call it sort of like the sparkle jacket syndrome. I like, yeah, I got,
Ooh,
not only do I have to have a jacket, but it's got to be a sparkly jacket, right? And
I want a
then I'm
sparkle
a big
jacket.
enough deal, right? I mean, you can pull it off, Kurt. I feel like you can really pull it off.
I feel like I could. I feel like I could. But yeah, exactly what you're saying, Sally, is that they're um so how do you get people to get over themselves?
Yeah.
It's really the trick, right?
Yes. The only way is by doing anyway. So it is all about taking action. And when I look back at the speakers who have had the most success, it is not because they were the most talented. And it's not because they were, had the biggest title or the most experience. It was their level of gumption. That is what made the biggest difference in their development as a speaker. So the trick is just starting and doing because we start to prove to ourselves, oh, turns out I am somebody who could do this because I'm doing it. Rather than waiting until you become this unknown, ethereal quality to be able to step in as speaker. Like, oh, we just got to do it. And very tactically, the first thing that everybody needs before you can truly leverage speaking is some clarity around your particular expertise. The thing that you want to be known for, the thing that you want to hang your hat on, the thing that you are excited to talk about, that jazzes you up, that you can build a message around. So I call it developing your signature talk, which is a foundational message that you can turn into all kinds of different things. It's your keynote, it's your, I was a little bit of your TEDx talk, it's your 10-minute live that you do. Like, there's all kinds of ways that you're going to lean into it on when you guest on podcasts, et cetera, et cetera. So developing that signature talk is a really essential step one for people because it helps you find clarity on your own authentic point of view, your voice, and it really helps in the becoming part of speaking.
I suppose it helps a lot with the confidence part as well, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a lot easier when you know exactly who your audience is and the message, the takeaways that you want them
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get,
I think
right?
one of the things that is tough about speaking is the most common answer I give to people's questions is it depends. I'll be like, they'll say, how do I handle when, I I don't know, make up a question. Somebody says, Sally, how do I, get people to sign up for my business?
Mm,
How
sure.
do I turn speaking into a business generating experience? And I'll say, well, it depends. It
Mhm.
depends on who you're talking to and how much time you have and the context, the expectations in that context, and what it is that you're pulling people into, what that next step
Yeah.
is that you want to invite people into. So, because so much depends, um, it it makes the foundational message and the clarity over who you are and what you talk about. If you can get a handle on that, it allows you to show up and adapt more easily and still feel like, okay, at least I have this. I have this clear. And we're always doing some adapting. It's not like you're giving the same exact message each time because every context is different, but it gives you confidence and strength to speak from your authentic voice.
So talk about that signature talk because
Yeah.
I'm a business person. I can talk about a lot of
Mhm.
things. Sally,
Yeah.
where do I even start
Yeah.
if I'm considering because I've heard people say this to me too, where
Yeah.
it's like, well, I can speak on a number of different subjects. I like that's great.
Mhm.
Okay, but
Yeah.
which one do you care about? Like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
talk me through that process a little bit.
Sure. So developing a signature talk is essentially you're going to have more than one eventually in your business. If you're doing a lot of speaking or and want to lean into more speaking, you might at some point have five signature talks that you offer to people. So we tend to, especially before you're building your first signature talk, we put a lot of pressure on that. Like, oh my gosh, it's got to encompass everything I'm about. And like, whoa, okay, let's just pick one thing that, and some of the things to think about are that you want to be known for, right? So
Hmm.
that topic or idea that you want to hang your hat on, and a topic or idea that has some demand behind it that the
Mm,
market is currently already paying for. So I do a lot of research. What are other speakers talking about? How are they marketing that? And you want to be able to find your own, I call it sometimes like you're putting your own wrapping paper over it.
sure.
But you need to really understand how other people are searching for people who speak about similar topics as you. And instead of finding a competitor and being like, somebody else already talked about this. What I'd love for you to think about is instead of that, if you said, oh my gosh, somebody's paying for this. That's good. That means that there's an opportunity here. There's a
Yeah.
market for this. And it's not just a nice to have thing, but this is a problem that people want a solution for and are willing to put some money down for.
Got it. Well, in being from the Midwest, I think another piece that challenges people is that we're usually told not to stand out. We're told to
Yeah.
we're told that just take it easy because people who stand out, people point at and make fun of or something. I don't know.
Yep.
There's something to it, like you're too showy or
Yep.
whatever the case may be. Like myself, for example, a lot of people say, well, but you're an extrovert. And I'm like, honestly, I don't think I've ever met an extrovert. I know a lot of introverts that have like bursts of
Yeah.
extrovertism. For me, yeah, sure. I feel comfortable getting up and talking to other people. And that could be, I mean, you could look at my childhood. I don't know, but it's not I wouldn't say it's something where you're cast in stone and that's who
Mhm.
you are from now on, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is all learnable. It's all learnable and it is accessible to everyone. I don't care who you are or how shy you are or how much the stage scares you right now. And by stage, I just mean anytime that you're up in front talking to other people. It's all learnable. It really truly is. But you said something, Kurt, that I think is super important. You said, especially in the Midwest, there is this fear, let's just call it a fear of being too big a deal and like thinking that it's all about us. And so many, many speakers I know, especially as a Minnesota gal, I feel this deeply. And I work with a lot of people who are like, well, I don't want to tell like, I don't want to make it about me. And so they only tell other people's stories, or they like, this is how they allow themselves to stand in front and have an impact and influence other people in that position. And it's holding too many people back from
Mm,
leveraging this power. It's a particular kind of influence and persuasion that you can have as a speaker that is unlike anything else. And I'm, And it plays a really important role in every business, which is your external authority, building awareness and authority. It's a really incredible marketing tool. But a lot of people are like, well, I don't want it to be about me. I'm like, we're missing your voice. We're missing you
Yeah.
when that's the story you're telling yourself about this.
Yeah.
And we actually want to hear a little bit about you. We don't want it to be all about you. We do.
No.
We don't. But some people think just standing up in front of other people is already making it about themselves. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
this is how you serve.
It's interesting because I know you coach a lot of executives, and I can
Mhm.
imagine, these are people that are getting up in front of their teams pretty regularly and
Yeah.
and talking and coaching and doing these things. Or
Yeah.
but then the idea of maybe getting up in front of like a stage or something seems like, oh well, let's whoa,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
let's slow it down,
Oh,
right?
no. No. Yeah. Oh, totally. And the thing is, when people can grapple with that internally, like, actually, I do have something to say. Actually, it's okay for me to be a little bit of a big deal. It's okay for me to hold this position and use it because it is how I'm going to serve other people. It is how this idea that I believe in so much that I'm willing to step into this vulnerable position and lean into it and to risk rejection. That's what speaking is. It's like a manifestation of risking
Sure.
rejection and that level of vulnerability. It's like when you can own that and hold that space, that's an incredible position to be in as a leader. So it matters who's doing that. It
Hmm.
matters the words that we say, and it matters the kind of impacts that we can wield with that moment. And so I love the idea of pulling more of the reluctant leaders out front and saying, hey, just because you're not a spotlight hog doesn't mean you can't stand in the spotlight.
Right. Yep. And well, to that point, you've got people that they're already doing this in their day-to-day lives, and they want clients and their customers and people to look at them like they're the experts. And you get
Yeah.
them in a room with some customers or things like that, and they're just go 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 go.
Yeah.
Or they need to lead a workshop with some clients, it's go 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 go. um,
Yeah.
but it's this idea of like, well, now they're strangers, Sally, and
Yeah.
it's scary. So talk to me a little
Mhm.
bit about what you've seen when people take on public speaking as part of, showing off their expertise in their
Yeah.
business. What has this done for people's businesses that you've worked with?
Yeah. Uh, well, really specifically, it becomes a powerful pathway to new clients. So new connections, new potential revenue streams. So many of the people I work with, you mentioned executives. So I work with some people who I call them have tos. They have to speak as a part of their job. And they're like, they just want some support to feel confident and clear about that. But a lot of the people I work with are in the want tos or get tos. Like it's just, they know that it's a powerful way to reach new audiences,
Yeah.
to set themselves up as the authority on that particular topic. Because we both know, and you've kind of, this has been underneath everything that we're talking about, is you step on stage and there's authority automatically given to you because somebody has deemed you as a person worthy of listening to
Yeah.
and leading. And so, you know, it there's so many powerful benefits. The bringing in new clients, bringing in leads that may eventually turn into clients. So it's a really important part of most people's pipelines. And then you can get paid really well as a speaker. So whether or not you're standing out in front on behalf of an organization or an agency that you're working with, or um, you know, a business of some kind, you can get paid as a speaker to do that kind of work as thanks for your insight and expertise and vision as a leader. And the stronger your point of view, the stronger and clearer your message is, the more you can get paid for that
Right.
message.
Right. And that's the thing is when you say get paid, you could get paid both for the speaking and for the new clients that you're bringing in as part of your
Yeah.
business, right?
That's when we're taking advantage of both ends of that
Mhm.
funnel. I call it an impact gen funnel, where not only are you getting paid in the moment for speaking, you're potentially meeting a whole bunch of new people in that moment that you then invite in to work with you in some way, or at the very least, to start a relationship with you. So for people who are like B2B or B2C, you can lean into different parts of where speaking can fit in your business in order to really take advantage of this particular activity in your company and business as a whole.
Yeah, that's smart. I mean, I know so many people that are basically they're in the business of selling their expertise, but
Yeah.
they're not doing speaking as much because I think there's also another side of this, which is finding the opportunities to
Yeah.
speak as well. What are some of your suggestions for people? Let's say they work with you, Sally, and they get really good at this and they start doing this stuff. Now what do they do? Do they go
Yeah.
out on that? Do they make some flyers and stick them up on telephone poles? What do we need to do here?
I mean, kind of. That's kind of how it works. It's this is probably the toughest part of the speaking business is building up the momentum of awareness that this is something that you do. A lot of my speakers, when they're first starting out with me, they're so excited about speaking, but they haven't really let people know that this is something that they do, because they might know them as you're an expert on this topic, but they might not think of you as a speaker yet. And so there's a bit of an awareness campaign that has to happen initially for people to start thinking about you when they think about your topic. Like, you are a problem solver on this particular thing through speaking. So that's pretty much step one, is just raising everybody's awareness of you as a speaker. And then the real heart of speaking, it's a networking kind of to your, like, this is your whole thing, Kurt. It's all in who you know, the relationships that you have, how invested you are in those relationships, how well you've deepened them and cultivated
Mhm.
them, following up, going to events yourself, really reaching out to people like that. That's how it works.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then, lastly, I want to ask you about the the idea of being able to expand from your speaking. So what other opportunities, once I do start doing this public speaking, what other opportunities can be created because of my speaking? Have you seen that is beneficial to people that maybe that they're
Yeah.
not thinking about?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I think of speaking as an authority building activity, not just a revenue generating activity and not just a lead generating activity, but it's an authority building activity, and people start to see you as an authority around that topic, it opens up all kinds of possibilities that will start coming to you. So I just launched my book, right? A book and speaking
Congratulations.
part of. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited about it. But those two things go together for a reason, because oftentimes the book makes people, that's an authority building activity, and they're like, even though people, just like speaking, anybody can do this. If you just raise your hand and say, I want to do this, you can do this. You write a book, they're like, oh, you know something about that. You know something about that thing, and you've invested some time and energy in that. And speaking. So, those two pieces tend to happen around the same time. You're going to get asked to come and offer your insights on things like podcasts or panels or conferences. So the invites start to come to you the more you start to speak, because as you build that awareness campaign and people start to see this is something that you do, they will start coming to you, which eases that the hustle grind that is an important part of building that momentum.
Yeah, for sure. The
Mhm.
the amazing thing to me is that when I started doing speaking, and it was kind of early in my career, and I was in the sort of had to sort of space, right? Because my
Yeah.
my company I was working for was like, we need somebody who can write articles for these things. Okay, great. Yeah, all right, I'll contribute some articles for PR and that sort of stuff. And then
Yeah.
they were like, oh, now these people want you to speak about this thing. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Excuse me? Okay, well, I can do that. And I did it. I was terrible and I hated it. I mean, I didn't hate it. I really enjoyed the experience, but I wish I would have um gotten better at it. And I think because I was able to sort of not do so well the first few times,
Yeah.
and then sort of grow from that, that was really helpful for me being
Yeah.
offered that opportunity.
Yeah. Well, the only way to get better is by doing. We talked about that at the beginning of
Yep.
this, and it's true. It's all theory until you put it into a specific context. So even if you've done it 5 times before, you might walk in with a higher level of self-trust to be able to handle what's about to happen, but you still don't know what's going to happen. It's
Mhm.
live theater every single time,
Yeah.
as it should be. That's part of the magic of it, is like there's different individuals in the room that are affecting how this situation feels and the kind of feedback that you're getting and what comes out of this experience. So uh, you know, I love that you said it didn't go well, but you kept going. I
Yep,
mean, part
kept
of me is
going.
like, really, really, Kurt, it didn't go well, really. But um, you kept going. That level of gumption, that's how it happens.
Mm,
Versus going, it didn't go very well, regardless of how it actually went. If that's how it feels to you, and you don't ever go back again,
yeah.
then that's where it stays instead of I had a moment. I'm learning from it. Next
Yep.
time I would not do that. I'm going to do something else. And we
Yeah,
just
why
feel like there's story here, Kurt. I want to hear the story.
Oh, well, no, it's I mean, I grew up, my father was a minister, and so, every week he was doing sermons,
Yeah.
and I'd see
Yeah.
him on Saturday nights in front of his typewriter with his 2 fingers typing out his sermon,
Yeah.
and then he would just deliver these powerful sermons every day. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, looking back, they were very powerful sermons, but when I was a kid, like, I was like, "This is just"
Yeah.
I thought this was just normal, like, people's
Yeah.
dads just got up and told people how to live their lives once a week, and
Yeah.
then that was pretty
Yeah.
normal. And
Yeah.
so to
Yeah.
me, like, the whole idea of speaking in front of people was pretty it just seemed like part of, like, a job, like part of what you
Right.
did, so it never
Yeah.
really made me nervous to get up in front of people, but then when I had to actually get up and deliver a message with conviction and things around there,
Hmm.
that's when, I realized that I really needed to, uh if I was going to do public speaking, it needed to be something that I was passionate about. It couldn't be something
Yeah.
that I was just smart in, I guess. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. Totally. It's the difference to me between being an expert and being a thought leader.
Mm,
Like we all know a lot of things, but what is the thing that you want to shape the way people live and act and behave and see
yeah.
the world? Like that is what we can do as speakers, even if you're talking about in the realm of your expert topic, like you as a networker and an expert at networking, among many other things. But that's kind of, that's put your
Yep.
flag down on that to some degree. So you've got a lot of expertise on that, but being a thought leader on that means challenging your audience to some degree.
So, as the saying goes, be the change in the world you want to see, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And just as speakers, we were just talking about like you becoming the thought leader. What's so cool about speaking is we are often giving the message that we ourselves have learned in some kind of important, challenging way that we have grappled with ourselves. And that's why who we are as human beings, it's not just about what you know, it's about who you are. And to
Mm,
me, thought leadership is very much reflective of who you are, your story, how you bring yourself into that moment as well, more than just, here are all the things that I know. We're going to shape perspective in a much more powerful way when it's truly built on our own experiences and stories and ideas that have shaped us.
yeah, it happened to me. It became more and more regular especially as I matured. That
Hmm.
I was coaching employees or people, and and they would say like, "Oh man, that really helped me," or "That really changed," And I kept thinking to myself, maybe other people would like that to hear that,
Mm,
right? And
yeah.
maybe it's, just because these one or two or three people said that the advice or something that I
Yeah.
told them was helpful, maybe there's
Hmm.
more than just those two or three people. Maybe there's
Yeah.
dozens and maybe hundreds, I don't know, whatever, of people
Yeah.
that would find that interesting. It's one of the reasons why I wrote my book, is that because I was coaching a lot of people that were in transition, and I noticed that their resumes were fine, their experience was fine, their education was fine, but their networking was terrible. And they had
Yeah.
no idea even what networking really meant. They just thought it was,
Mm.
stick a "hello, my name is" thing on and go to a hotel ballroom and interrupt conversations. And I was like, that's not networking. So
Mhm.
it got me to write the book, and so I feel like hopefully there's a lot of people who are listening that's inspired by the work you do, Sally. And if I want to follow more, if I want to get the book, if I want to learn
Yeah.
more about what Sally's all about, like where do I go? Where do I find more Sally?
Yeah. Well, I would love for, if you're curious about this, my book that I just launched called Speaking Story, right, displayed beautifully behind me, is actually a great entree into leveraging speaking as a tool for persuasion, connection, authority building. It's not just for speakers, although speakers all need this book as well. And it's not just about stories. It's truly about being a person that shows up and uses your voice in a powerful, authentic, connected, clear way. So, if you are curious about the book or want to connect with me, I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. And you can find me over at bemoved.com because I'm going to help you be moved to move your audience.
I love it. I love it. Sally, you
Yeah.
are such a breath of fresh air. Thank you so
Well,
much for taking the time and the expertise that you have. And thank you for sharing it with my audience. I really appreciate it.
yeah, it was really fun. Like I said, now I've been on Schmidt List. I don't know.
Yep. Now it's just coasting from
Where do
here,
we go
really.
from here? Exactly. I've got my book and Schmidt List. What else do we need? No, thank you. It was really
What
fun.
else do you need, really?
It
Really.
was great to connect with you. And as a fellow Midwestern person, I see you and I know we get it. We get it. I'm
Thanks,
just going to keep
Sally.
nudging you out front. I mean, you're doing it. You're doing
I'm doing it.
it.
All right. Thanks, Sally.
Yep, you bet. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Sally, isn't she fantastic? I hope that you get some ideas around there, and make sure you go and check out her book. I'll have links in the description below and all those sorts of things. So make sure you take time and do that. And speaking of books, while you're getting her book, you might as well pick up my book as well, because those two books together, as she mentioned, once you start those speaking gigs, well, you got to get out there and network. You got to let people know that this is what you do and this is the value you provide. So why not get out there and do it? What else are you doing? Stop watching that Netflix show is bad anyways, and there's no good TV on right now. So okay. So there's plenty of opportunities for you to get some reading in. Okay. Thank you for taking the time to join me. We'll see you next time.